up, you sexy and gorgeous creature? Welcome to Practice Intimacy. This is the place to be to learn all about love, sex, and how to have the best relationships you possibly can. So, we're going to dive into 3 things that you can do in order to become a really conscious, loving partner to whoever you are with or end up with. And the reason why this is so important is because it is true that yes, you should be out there looking for somebody who is going to meet you at a level of intimacy and connection that you really desire. And also, if you want to be in the most loving relationship possible, that means that you're probably going to have to do some work too. I don't know very many people who escaped their childhood without some relational trauma, some baggage, and so almost all of us have stuff to work on. And if you want to be a really good partner, that means you've got to do your work. And so what I want to share with you is 3 things you can do in order to help yourself become a less reactive, a more safe and loving person in relationship. Before we do that, let me just share what you're working against. So, when it comes to the way that our brains operate, there is the brainstem, that is the lowest part of our brain. Often people call it the lizard brain. I don't love that terminology, but what the brainstem does is it regulates the body. So it deals with things like body temperature, your heartbeat. Above the brainstem, part of the cortex, is the subcortical area. You could also think of this as the limbic system. This is the part of the brain that is processing information and experiencing emotions based on all of your history, plus all the information that's coming into your mind right now, all of the input that you're taking in, all the data. And then finally, wrapped around the subcortical area is the neocortex. And that is more like higher order thinking. That is going to be where a lot of rational thought comes from. Your prefrontal cortex is in this part of the brain, which is more of a regulating, witnessing part of your mind. And most of us in relationship are attempting to live from our prefrontal cortex, the neocortex, the part of our mind that is rational and can be in relationship and connection in a way that feels really caring and often easier. But in reality, a lot of the time in relationship, you're going to get stressed out. Your partner's going to say or do things that are upsetting to you. That is the nature of being in a romantic partnership. It is a way to become a kinder, more loving person, because you're probably going to pick a person who triggers the shit out of you. That's just what we tend to do. I have some ideas about why we do that, but we're not going to get into that today. Instead, just know that you're probably going to pick a partner who triggers the heck out of you. And it is an opportunity to grow and become a softer, more open-hearted person. When they trigger you, what's going to get activated is your subcortical area. And your defenses are going to come up, and all the ways in which you learn to protect yourself are going to come forward. And those ways, depending on your particular attachment style and your history, they're going to look different. Probably the opposite of what your partner does. You might be a person who avoids confrontation and goes away and becomes kind of reclusive whenever you feel stressed out. Or you might be a person who chases after your partner whenever you feel stressed out. It totally depends. Totally depends on your particular history and the kinds of interactions that you got early in your life. Here's the thing. Your subcortical area, that part of your brain works between an 1/8 to a 1/12 of a second. That's how fast it's moving. Whereas your neocortex, the part of you that could be in relationship and connection and in rational thought rather than reactivity, that works in about 3 to 5 seconds. And so you're actually fighting against your biology. You are fighting against a brain system where reactivity, the parts of you that can get triggered and scared and angry and try and either make your partner different or move into judgment of them because you don't like what they said or did, that is faster than the parts of your brain that can go, wait a minute, hold on, I love this person. They have a hard history too. They're doing their best. All of that goes offline and is unavailable to you because you are scared, hurt, whatever the case might be. And so you're literally working against your biology. And what I want to share with you is 3 things you can do in order to make that process a little bit faster, more effective, and also just to practice it, because that's all it takes. You will never win against the biology. Most likely throughout the rest of your relationship, you are going to have moments where your partner triggers you and you will immediately feel reactive. And sometimes you'll be able to catch that reactivity and soothe it and then come back into connection. And sometimes the reactivity is going to come out. That's just how it's going to be. But you can get better at containing your reactivity and taking care of yourself and then showing up in partnership in a way that really matches your integrity. So how do you do this? The first one is you time travel. So when I say time travel, I mean think back to the last time that you got reactive. And honestly, hopefully this will become a daily practice for you, where every single time you leave an interaction where you felt reactive, you look back on it and you ask yourself, what was going on with me? I was really triggered. What was happening inside of me? And you get curious and you explore. And after understanding whatever was happening inside of you and taking care of that, then maybe playing out how you would have preferred the interaction to go, how you would have liked to act. Don't think about how you wish your partner would have wanted to act, because that is a fantasy. Instead, focus on, what would I have preferred to do in this situation? Would it have been calling a timeout and taking care of myself rather than saying or doing that thing that was not great? Would it have been turning towards whatever part of myself that was reactive and taking care of it in this particular way? Like, think about what you would have done and play it out in your mind, and that will give your whole brain system a new script about how you could act in the future. Our subcortical area, it actually does not know the difference between reality versus a really well-imagined mental image fantasy that you create inside of yourself. Fantasy is not the right word. It's really an imagining, a really clear whole body imagining of what you would have preferred feels as true inside of your nervous system as what actually happened. And so you can use looking back at the past and re-scripting it how you would have preferred to act as a way to teach your nervous system a new way of being. So that's number 1. Number 2 is meditate. So our minds, they are constantly moving, and if left unchecked, they're just going to go into their consistent patterns, the things they've always done. What meditation does is it actually allows you to step into witnessing mind, which is the orbital medial prefrontal cortex. It's like this part of your brain kind of tucked up under the third eye area. And when I say witnessing mind, all I mean is that you're watching yourself as you're reacting. And so if I was watching myself right now, there aren't a ton of feelings, but I can feel sensations. There's a sensation in my chest of like tightness just on the left side right above my heart. And there's a sensation of expansion across my scapula. And there's maybe a tiny, tiny emotion of anticipation because I have somewhere to go after this. And that's my witnessing mind, where I turn towards myself and actually watch what's going on inside. Meditation, not mindfulness. Mindfulness is slightly different. Mindfulness is also great. It's just being in the present moment. But meditation is where you allow yourself to become incredibly present while also resting. And what this does is it allows you to build more myelination, so more connection between the prefrontal cortex and the subcortical area. And when you have more connection between the prefrontal cortex and the subcortical, you have a greater ability to calm down your subcortical area, that reactive part of your brain. You have a greater ability to do that in the moment. How does that actually work? Well, in meditation, your mind's going to be thinking about this thing and thinking about that thing and thinking about this thing. And then you go, witnessing mind, wait, come back. Focus on either your breath or your mantra or whatever it is that you're using to rest your mind. And over again, you do that, and you're just building the ability to go, hold on, nervous system. We're not going to go into the old pattern. I am in control here. I I dictate where the mind goes. And yeah, maybe I'll make some more videos about this because meditation is a beautiful thing. If you have never had a meditation practice, I suggest either trying out something like Insight Timer. They have a whole bunch of guided meditations. It is a free app that you can download. It is wonderful. If you feel like really getting into meditation, I took a course, I don't know, it's been months ago now, and it was so beneficial. And I finally have a twice daily meditation practice, whereas previously in my life, I've been pretty inconsistent. And it is called Ziva Online. So if you're wanting a meditation practice, check that out. It's amazing. The final thing, the third thing you can do to become a more calm and less reactive, I'm going to change the wording of that because calm is not quite right. It's about really being okay. Like no matter how hard life is becoming and how wild your partner is acting and how crazy it's making you, you're still okay. And so becoming more okay and more regulated, the third thing you would do is complete stress cycles. What do I mean by this? What I mean is your body is constantly holding stress. Like, think about this world we live in. You have a job, maybe you have kids, maybe you have a whole bunch of financial stressors on top of you, not to mention all of the relationships you have. Maybe your family is a little bit wild and hard to be around. Maybe you're just having to drive home and rush hour traffic and it's hell. You're holding on to stress in your nervous system. And that is going to make it to where you are easily more reactive because you're already stressed out. And so when your partner says or does something that maybe on a different day, whenever you're not stressed out, you would just let it roll off of you and it would not be a big deal. On this day, when you feel stressed, it's going to affect you. And you're going to rise to meet them and it'll turn into a conflict. So how do you complete stress cycles? There are many ways to do it. I'm going to share just the easiest one in this video. And if you want to know other ways, check out this video all about completing stress cycles. But the easiest one is movement, moving your body, going outside and taking a walk, dancing if you're into that, doing yoga if you're into that, just shaking your body for 2 minutes, anything that is going to allow your nervous system to dissipate energy, to release energy. In the wild, what you see animals doing if they get stressed out is the very first thing they do after is they shake themselves. Like you watch a cat, you watch a dog in your house, they do the same thing. If they're stressed out, the next thing they're going to do is either start walking or, more likely, shake themselves. And it's just a way to discharge that energy. All of our nervous systems need that kind of release. And when you do it, it allows you to come back into a more stable, relaxed state. So, time travel, meditate, complete stress cycles, and it will help you to become a more grounded partner so that you can show up in your relationship with the most love, the most care, the most full-hearted, open version of yourself. Tell me how it goes. Leave me comments. Remember to like this video, subscribe to Practice Intimacy for more content like this, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.